Yes. And we are not going to get started until we have silence in the room.
Are you a teacher?
No, but I'm the mother of a 13-year-old. And if you really don't want to hear me sing, you want me to start talking now. All right, great. Welcome, everyone. My name is Mary Skelton Roberts. I am the chair of this wonderful organization, Hispanics in Philanthropy. This is the Board of Directors reception, so a shout out to the board members. If you're a board member, hey, put your hands up. Board members. Thank you. We are so full of energy, and we're so excited, full of ideas from today's conference. We heard innovation, we heard great ideas, we heard opportunities, we heard challenges, but we heard that we're up to the task. A couple minutes ago, I was huddling with one of our new board members, and he said something, and I'm like, this is exactly why we're here. He said, we have a new leader, we have the right moment in time, and all of us need somewhere to channel this energy, and HIP is it, which is why we're in the room tonight. So thank you for coming, and we got work to do. Tonight's location, the National Museum of Women in the Arts, is a fitting scene. We're here to honor the accomplishments of talented Latinas with our HIP Giver Awards. These are awards we present every year to the incredible Latinos who exemplify the generosity of our community. Our two honorees tonight have done so much for women, but I'll leave their introductions to our leader fellow in a moment.
Well, I got the fun part. I get to thank our supporters and our sponsors, and without them, none of this would have been possible. And so, shout out, and we'll keep the applause towards the end. Google.org, Southwest Airlines, the Serna Foundation, TIAA Institute, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Casey Family Programs, Marguerite Casey Foundation, and the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Many of their staff are here, and we're so, so very appreciative of your support, not just of HIP, but of Latino communities across the Americas. So give them a hand.
Also, we would like to honor the president of the Cleveland Foundation, Ron Richard, for his board service. He has been dedicated to this board for the last 6 years. Though we're sad to see you leave, Ron, we're sad to see you leave the board, we know we always have a friend in you and that you are always committed to HIP. So thank you for your service, and we'd like to present you a small token of our appreciation.
Never really leaving. He's just moving on to a working group.
That's right, that's right.
What shall we do?
We're your entertainment for the evening.
We didn't tell you Ron plays in the salsa band.
Thank you, Ron.
Nobody. See you later.
Now, this afternoon, some of you participated in the conversation about Venezuela. I know that you had a packed house. Many others of you participated in the Tiburon Tech. And there we had 3 Latino entrepreneurs pitching their ideas for social enterprises. We all had our favorites. I voted for one. I was trying to sell my favorite to my family, but they have their own ideas. I haven't seen the one, so I'm going to be just as surprised as all of us, but it's my pleasure We're going to find out in a second. And the winner is the one I voted for. I'm so pleased to invite Melina up to the podium. another little surprise, which we're very excited about.
This is not a little surprise.
This is not okay, it's a big surprise. So, we talked about the fund this afternoon, and we talked about it being an idea. But we now have more than an idea. Because our board has come together and they have committed the first $1 million to seed the fund. We also have 2 board members that have committed to add the first $20,000 in addition to the collective $1 million. So we are going to get there. We're going to get to $58 million. That's $1 for each Latino that lives in the U.S. And we're going to get there fast, and then we're going to grow and grow and grow. So thank you. Thank you.
As is our tradition, we've asked one of the fellows from our Lead in This program to present our Hip Givers Award tonight. Please join me on stage, Nicole Melacou.
How we feeling, everyone? Woo! Excellent. Tonight, it's my honor to present the Hip Giver Award to Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Woo!
Linda is the Executive Director of the New Americans Museum in San Diego. The museum has an incredible mission to celebrate the contributions of multi-generational immigrants to the U.S. We are changing the narrative about what it looks like to be American.
Yes!
About who is contributing to our country's success and how much richer our lives and our culture is because of our diversity. In the past year, Linda has been an incredible asset to HIP. She was instrumental in HIP's 2 border delegations to witness the impact of the immigration crisis. She connected to shelters, arts organizations, government agencies on both sides of the border. She knows everyone, is respected by everyone, and is an expert at building coalitions amongst Black, Brown, and other communities. Linda is on the cutting edge of building a new narrative around how we welcome new arrivals to the U.S. and asking us as Americans who are born here to welcome them. Please join me in celebrating our Hip Giver Award, Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Yes!
Good evening, everyone. ¿Cómo están?
Bien!
Excelente, mi gente. Thank you, HIP, and to all of you here. I'm so deeply honored and helpful for this recognition. When I got the call, I thought, God, so many people deserve this, but I accept it. I love you. I'll take it. Thank you. What an opportunity.
Yes!
You know, we almost certainly have a story to tell. Mine was shaped as a little girl who crossed the Tijuana-San Diego border daily to study in the U.S. because her mother told her, hay un plan para ti, hija. There's a plan for you. Imagine, from 8 years old, navigating 2 worlds, 2 languages, 2 cultures, all the nuances. But guess what? Despite all the years, my story is not a unique one, as we have countless people straddling cultures, navigating the unknown, often are Latinx young people in the heart of redefining identity, what it means to be American, especially in these times. I have the honor of working in a non-traditional museum, a non-collecting one, a museum about multi-generational storytelling, collecting stories, preserving and sharing new American testimonials in all their expressions. But I have to share with you that our focus has sharpened, and my resolve and purpose as its leader to implement our mission in deeper ways in support of our most vulnerable and targeted in our communities. Of course, people of color, the poor, women, children, yes, immigrants who are portrayed, no surprise, in xenophobic, racist, and bigoted ways every single day. At New Americans Museum, we felt this sting of hate speech and hate crime immediately after the 2016 presidential election. An incident happened over that Thanksgiving weekend that, while it was a shock, it was more powerful as it galvanized our purpose to speak out against hate and injustice, and to push beyond the rarefied and privileged world of museums, where very few women, and even fewer that look like us, serve as executive directors. It pushed me to re-examine our role and begin to take control of our narratives and ask our community members, our artists and partners, what they needed and how we as an institution could support these voices in what has become for me the intersectionality of art, culture, commerce, civic, and social justice. And that's what we've been doing ever since in reframing our spaces and our work. It's been culminating in artistic interventions about race, identity, democracy, tolerance. We began launching a micro-enterprise program for immigrants in creative sectors. And the list goes on, because the needs and opportunities to reframe our stories is vast. And now every time we are challenged or attacked, excluded, undermined, or pushed, what do?
Push back.
Dale, dale, dale.
Woo!
Listen, I use all means and sectors available to connect and to try to support and empower those most in need. And I think that's what my dear mother meant, to whom I dedicate this recognition, when she insisted there was a plan for me, really for all of us. Thanks to my small but mighty rock star team at the museum, my husband and co-conspirator and social change friend. I'm sure he's sick of me bringing all kinds of people home all the time. Here's a new person. My dear, wild, amazing friends, many are here, you know who you are, you instigators, perpetrators, and activators. And to you who are taking the time, the resources, the talent, and treasure to lift our communities. ¿Y qué vamos a hacer? Dale, dale, dale. Thank you so much.
Very good. The next award is a sister from the immigrant rights movement and from the struggle for women's equality. It's incredibly meaningful to honor her this evening as our next HIP award. Monica Ramirez is the president of Justice for Migrant Women and Gender Justice Campaigns and the director of the National Domestic Workers Alliance. Monica is a warrior for mujeres in our community. She's an advocate, an organizer, an attorney fighting to eliminate gender-based violence and promote gender equity. During the Time's Up movement, which we all know was in danger of becoming a white woman's movement, Monica was critical in making the movement for all women. She made sure that domestic workers, women of color, farm workers, waitresses, women who often go ignored behind the scenes, but who provide essential care and services and make our society function, were not left out of the conversation. HIP is lucky to have Monica as a partner and a friend, and we work together as HIP to advance gender equity for Latinas, including the Latina Equal Pay Initiative. Monica, thank you for your incredible contributions to Comunidad. I'm honored to present you with our next HIP Giver Award.
First things first.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I come to you tonight as a proud daughter and granddaughter of migrant farm workers. And I'm here because of them. And I accept this recognition on behalf of my abuela, on behalf of my mother, on behalf of my tias, on behalf of all the strong women who made me who I am, and whose shoulders that I stand on. I accept this recognition on behalf of the women who I have the honor and the great privilege to walk alongside in the fight for justice, not just for some of us, but for all of us. I have the honor of walking alongside women like Julia de Leon, a domestic worker from Guatemala, who despite many challenges working in domestic work, being cheated out of wages, being poorly treated, being discriminated against, and raising her daughters on her own, she stood up and said, I want to help, I want to serve, I want to organize in my community. And she's done that. I'm here because I have the honor and privilege of walking alongside people like Lilia, my client who I represented when I was in the South. She's a woman who works at a factory in North Carolina, who is a victim of workplace sexual violence. And even though she told the people who could have helped her, they didn't help her. And Lilia was taken out of the factory where she worked in an ambulance. And while most people probably wouldn't have been brave or strong enough to take action, Lilia did. And she didn't take action for herself. She took action because she didn't want anyone else to suffer as she suffered. And a few months ago, I had the honor of being here in Washington, D.C. with Lilia at the introduction of the Be Heard Act, which will be the most comprehensive amendment to the existing civil rights law in our country. Title VII, which will finally bring the threshold from 15 workers down to 1 worker, so that any worker who experiences sexual violence in the workplace, from domestic workers to others working in small places, could actually be covered and free from sexual violence and other kinds of harassment. And I accept this recognition on behalf of a woman named Bernice. She's one of the first women that I ever had the privilege of serving as an attorney. And as an attorney, was not able to win her justice. She's a farm worker woman who was taken from Florida to South Carolina, one of few women on a crew who was placed in a house with men who she didn't know and who weeks after arriving was sexually violated. And because Bernice didn't know her rights, and because Bernice was undocumented, and because Bernice didn't even know where she was in the country, it was incredibly difficult for her to find the way forward. And somehow we found each other. And after I had the honor and privilege of speaking with her to figure out how we could help her, we realized together that door after door that we tried to open was closed on her. And Bernice, not finding justice in this country, went back to her country, broken, harmed, disillusioned. I accept this recognition on behalf of Bernice because in the wake of the Me Too movement, in which 20 million people came forward in 1 year to say that they too experienced sexual violence, we've asked people to come forward, and I question, what have we asked them to come forward to? Yes. Broken laws, broken systems, not enough services, and that is why HIP is so important. And I am so grateful for this recognition because it's together that we're going to be able to rise up and offer a better solution for women like Bernice. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Monica, for making sure that Me Too meant us too. Thank you, Linda, for your work in showing that the New Americans Museum is about us and our history and our culture. Thank you both for your incredible, incredible work. Thank you also. When we're putting together an event like this, it takes many people behind the scenes, from those who design the agenda, to those that agree to speak, to those that put the food together. So we want to thank the wait staff, the personnel, everyone that made this conference possible. We are so grateful for your help and your effort and your commitment.
So guess what? The official program is over. And so now we get to have fun. We have an amazing treat, as you all know. The amazing Frankie Negro will be joining us. The galleries are open. I think some people already figured out. We've got some incredible Ridacanos here. We got wonderful food. By the way, both of our catering tonight and last night are local Latina caterers that we were able to use. Yeah. And the only thing I ask of you is please join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. sharp, because we have a great program tomorrow as well. So thank you very much.
And you will be voting on your leadership on the board, so please come tomorrow morning. Good night.